Okay. Hello, everyone. So my name is Ifoma Ilobodo, and I am so happy to be here welcoming you to this event. So I just want to let you know that we are super excited to have you this day as we discuss volunteering. And to prepare for this particular webinar, we took our time to go through all the expectations of all the registered participants. And we indeed hope that all your expectations or most of your expectations will be met by the end of this webinar. So this webinar was organized by One Volunteer Community in partnership with internetbar.org Institute. These two organizations are youth focused. Then One Volunteer Community is a community which is out to ensure meaningful youth engagement, especially through volunteering. And it is also an organization that is out to create a safe space for young people to create and own their volunteering experience. So, and we have our panelists online right now. So, and we want to have them introduce themselves. We'll start with Rachel, then we'll have Godwin. So while they are introducing themselves, I'll share a link on the chat box. In the chat box, the link is to a pretest. The pretest will enable us to know our participants better and, to better have a wonderful experience with you. Thank you. Rachel, over to you. I'll stop sharing. Okay.
Sure. Thank you so much for the kind introduction, Ifoma, and good to see you, Goodwin. Hello, everyone. It is very nice to see you all. My name is Rachel, and to give a brief bit about my background, over the past decade, I have championed efforts to achieve all 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. I've contributed to over 100 projects with 112 organizations across 35 countries. Many of them were volunteering opportunities. I am a consultant who is currently working with UNICEF USA as a foundation in the foundation partnerships team, and the UN Association award-winning fashion designer and stylist Bernie Martin, who to both advance their social missions, as well as co-founded the social enterprise Global Futurists Initiative to elevate youth innovation. I've had various opportunities for engagement of volunteering, whether that's through poverty relief, building homes through Habitat for Humanity, with large organizations, or even small nonprofits that could be working in arts and culture or in global health and well-being. A couple of projects to highlight that are focused in the African region are Project Energy for Life, which takes place in Cameroon, Yoma, which takes place primarily in Nigeria, but it is global, and that's part of a Generation Unlimited initiative out of UNICEF. IBO Zambia, which, as the name precludes, is located in Zambia, that helps women entrepreneurs upskill and gain opportunities to start their own businesses. Oh, and last, JB Dondola, which is how I met Ifoma in the first place. We have worked together, both of us as volunteers, for the water and sanitation hygiene organization that works to also empower women and girls to get access to clean water in rural Zimbabwe. So happy to be here and happy to answer questions and just serve as a resource and guide for you and your volunteer journey. Thank you. And to pass it off to Goodwin.
Right, I guess I'm next. All right, hi everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from whatever part of the world you're connecting from right now. My name is Godwin, Godwin Okodua. I wear a few different hats, but I've been a volunteer with, focusing on the UN Sustainable Development Goals for about the past 5, 6, 7 years. I'm currently a Global Youth and Media Award, and a recent volunteer with the Kektil Foundation, which helps to build leadership capacity in young people. I've had a few volunteer opportunities, many of which I hope to share from my experiences to help us answer questions and get started in our volunteering journey today. I'm also a doctoral student because one of the things that I've been very passionate about is public health, in addition to the global education crisis. And so I'm also, I'm also a doctoral student, I beg your pardon, and a few other things. Yeah, so that's me, Godwin. And it's good to see every one of you as well. It's good to see you, Rachel, and Ifoma, and every one of us. I hope to meet more people and to build our networks as we go along.
Okay. So thank you so much. We are happy to have you here. And we intend to have this particular webinar to be very participatory. So we're going to have a few minutes to ourselves asking and discussing about volunteering. Then most of the time, we'll pass the baton to you, our dear registered participants. So you get the opportunity to ask all the questions you want to ask about volunteering from our panelists, okay? So to start, I want to ask our panelists, like, what volunteering is to them and why they started volunteering. So Rachel, I don't know if you mind starting. Okay.
Yeah, so volunteering to me is just like pursuing a career opportunity where sometimes it is passion out of love and sometimes it is passion out of scratching an itch. To me, sometimes volunteering is just filling a gap in a problem to really just create a solution. So for myself, I took the time to volunteer because I saw that in my like way far back in my own community. So I am from Indiana, USA. We have a big discrepancy between some of the cities. Some of the cities are very prosperous. Some of them are very what are they? They're called at risk. So I came from an at-risk city, and being able to be part of that community, growing up and being raised by it, it was an opportunity that I wanted to solve. So I in my case, I went out and tried to find community leaders and to be able to, in this case, it was through arts and programming. I did a lot of theater growing up, and of course it was joyous for myself, but also it gave a lot of at-risk school populations a chance to be able to just get away from their lives in some way. I guess it was mostly about like being able to just provide joy, even for just an hour, in some of these kids' lives. So that's what I did originally, is being able to find like what type of opportunities there were to fill gaps, or just because it's something that I love doing. So for me, volunteering is always at the end of the day about helping others and being able to, spread the joy of whether that's cultural exchange or being able to help them through a quality of health initiative. It's always being able to, think about what the North Star is at the end, at least for myself, I found that if I'm not enjoying volunteering, it's no different than doing a chore. So I make sure that I try to mix in the motivation and the incentive to always keep myself, at that drive, because there's a million ways to help. It not even through people, but sometimes, through animals or through plants. There's always humane societies. So for myself, it's just being able to find that opportunity that sparks joy within myself, but also to be able to do that in a way that reflects on the community that I'm serving.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I think, yeah, that's me. So thank you very much, Richard. That was a very, very important perspective, volunteering. And just to build off of what you said about the passion. Yeah, I think for me, volunteering is a great way to pursue. All right. I think volunteering is a great way to pursue your passion. It's a great way to build relevant skills in an area of interest. And for me, it was very, very important in helping to kickstart my journey in social advocacy and SDGs, project management in that space, and basically to build my professional network, because initially I wasn't sure what I really wanted to do, right? I was passionate about a few things. I don't know if you're like me, who just sees so many problems in the world and you feel like, you know what, I have to change the world, right? I was passionate about so many things, and I knew that I had to prioritize. I knew I had to focus, but where to start that journey of prioritizing and focusing and concentrating was really difficult. So volunteering gave me an opportunity to, kind of test the waters to see, to kind of validate my interests, build relevant skills and actually contribute to providing solutions in my identified area of interest.
Okay. I actually resonate with what you have said, like both of you said, because I mean, volunteering was like an escape route for me from the first time I started volunteering. I mean, we had this compulsory national youth service scheme that one was engaged in Nigeria, and I mean, and for you to participate there, you have to engage in all these morning drills, marching under the sun and all that, So I got to find out that, I mean, I can channel my energy because I don't enjoy marching under the sun or under the rain. I don't understand why I should do that. So I saw an opportunity to volunteer, and I mean, I jumped on it, without knowing what to expect from it. Just because it's something I felt like, oh, I'll be helping. At least I'll be of help to some people by doing it. So, thank you so much for that response. And to the second question. So, how do you know when a volunteering opportunity is for you? Because we know that there are several volunteering opportunities out there. So, and sometimes, it can be on climate, education, research, anything, health, education. So how do you get to know which one is for you? Yeah. So maybe Godwin, you should start now.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's a very important question, because there are, as much as there are so many things one can be passionate about, there's also lots of opportunities to get involved. And the truth is, not every opportunity, not every volunteering opportunity might be for certain kinds of people. So for me, how do I know when a volunteering opportunity is for me? One of the things I look at is if the volunteering opportunity meets my focus area. Okay. Right? If it's in an area that I'm focused in, if it's in an area I'm passionate about. I mean, Rachel spoke about being passionate about, something. So if it meets the area that I'm most passionate about, and then when the value that is required aligns with what I have to offer, and when the expectations align. And so, for instance, many volunteer organizations bring out opportunities to help young people build skills, to connect young people with other networks, to expose them to global citizenship and all of those stuff. But you see, many volunteers come into those organizations looking for jobs. Yeah. Right. And so their expectations, the organization's expectation is not to give you a job. It's to give you an opportunity. It's to help you build skills. It's to help you build networks. It's to expose you to what's what and who's who in this sector. So if the organization has this to offer and you are looking for this, it means that opportunity is not for you. And so for me, it's understanding where my focus area is, the value that is requested. If I can offer that, and of course, if the expectations align, then I know that, what, this has my name on it.
Thank you so much.
I couldn't say it better myself. Like, honestly, I think that it's all about that type of values alignment and also opportunities alignment as well. I think to narrow in a bit on the volunteer aspect of it is that, for myself, what I have seen to be the most successful for volunteer engagements is that there are set up programs that have a duration of, let's say, 3 months or 6 months. There's a time limit, because that enforces the accountability of the organization that you are looking at to volunteer, to give you some sort of tangible outcome in return, because there's always a chance of being able to ask, continuously over time, like, can you stay on? And then that's how the organization doesn't have accountability as much as it is you not having accountability. So I think that there's always that mix of the organization also needs to take the responsibility of ensuring that the volunteers are cared for in the best way that they can. And I think that speaks directly to what you said, Goodwin. Like, I think that's Godwin, I'm sorry. That's exactly what really aligns there with that as well, is that there's the parameters that need to be in place. And that's the one thing that I look for in any opportunity, for whether that's even for a job, like, you want to make sure that like your descriptions are well thought out, because again, like, it's all about that trust building and that accountability, like, on both sides. And that's the thing, is that like, both sides want the same thing. You just have to make sure that you're going at the same time towards that direction.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, and the truth is it's actually okay if for now you don't really know what you want out of a volunteering experience, is actually okay. So you can just, for me, my first volunteering experience, I didn't know what I should be expecting, or what I wanted from it. But, with time, as you're volunteering, as you're into it genuinely, you find yourself having areas of interest, passions, and all that. So when you're going for your second, your third, you have expectations. And I must tell you, it's okay to have expectations when you're entering. You're going in to help people, right? But it's okay to have expectations for yourself. Like, I want to have skills. I want to be trained. I want to get certificates. I want to, get relevant skills that will enable me to apply to this United Nations job and all that. So it's actually okay. So thank you so much. And we'll be going to the third question, which is, how do we assess our volunteering opportunities? Like, where do we get them? So Rachel, you can start.
Sure. So, to continue on that end, Ifoma, you made a really good point, is, what am I going to get? Like, what return on my volunteer that I'm going to receive? Because like, let's be real here. Like, we want to be able to receive like some sort of, whether that's altruistic good of being able to say that you've helped somebody else, or have some sort of tangible benefit of saying like, hey, I completed this course, or I got the door into networking rooms, etc. The way that I assess, again, I would say, like, besides the parameters, is looking at, the fact that a lot of volunteer positions don't even have like, more than like one bullet point. That's something that I would look for in assessing, is seeing like, how descriptive they are with their volunteering positions, as well as understanding a little bit of the sector and doing some research ahead of time to see like where their place is within the field. So sometimes, in different water and sanitation programs, for example, some focus on access to clean water, some focus on providing access to toilets. It's, there's all different, matters that, really takes a little bit of effort to research ahead of time to understand where their place is, and then determine whether that is something that, oh yeah, this is different. I think I'm kind of curious about it. Or it's like, I don't know about that, and then there's nothing wrong with at first joining something and communicating ahead of time. Hey, I'm not sure if this is something that I really want to do, but I'm happy to be able to provide at least 3 months of my time to be able to dedicate to this. Is it something that we can work out? So lastly, I would look at flexibility, is looking to see if this is, something that you can work with an organization on, in terms of not just like building your own expertise and skills, but just understanding like, like how like people centered they really are. Because at the end of the day, if there is no flexibility in terms of, in terms of like even just volunteering, then that organization may not be flexible with their own employees, with their own stakeholders that they're serving. So that's a good measurement to see like, how people focused they really are, is how they treat those that, that are helping them.
Thank you so much. Godwin.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Just to build off of where Rachel stopped, I think as far as accessing volunteer opportunities, it can be quite easy to access opportunities and it can be quite difficult. It all depends on what you're looking for and if you know where to look and how you're looking. For instance, if you're here on this call, you found this opportunity to have this conversation or to be a part of this webinar because you were on the internet or you were on some form of social media. So I would say social media is one very, very busy place as far as opportunities. You know, opportunities fly around every now and then. It all depends on number one, your focus area, number two, something that interests you. Secondly, I would say individual recommendations, right? Because something happened to me recently. I rarely go on Facebook, but one day I went on Facebook and I saw an opportunity for some engagement in sexual and reproductive health. And when I saw that opportunity, the first person that came to mind was a certain lady on my timeline who we actually do not talk. We're just like Facebook friends, we're not real life friends, but we're just like, yeah. But when I saw that opportunity, the first person that came to mind was her. Now, why? Not because I had any personal interest in her, but because she is always vocal about her interests in sexual and reproductive health. Like every now and then, she's always posting stuff, talking about something in sexual and reproductive health. You know, she's always keeping the conversation flowing. So when I came across an opportunity in that regard, right, I knew that, you know what, this would benefit this kind of person. And so you have to be vocal about what you really love, what you really want to do. Right, that is one way to actually access opportunities as well. Like they always say, social media is global media. You know, so when you're active and vocal in what you do and what you're passionate about, people who come across opportunities would most likely remember to send them your way, right? I'm very, very conversant with about 90% of organizations in my space. And I can tell you that if there's an opportunity that comes in an area of focus, it's going to be a very, 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 very difficult thing for me to miss it because I'm very conversant with what's happening in my field.
Yeah, thank you so much. So is that simple? Like, I think there's this common saying that Google is your friend. So, so you need a volunteering opportunity, you go to Google. But then our organization also made it quite easy for people. We have a Telegram group where we drop volunteering opportunity. I'll share the link with everyone here or probably in your email because I realize some people are having difficulty joining us, which is why this recording will be very beneficial as we'll be sharing it with everyone. So like if you see any group, like youth focused group that's share volunteering opportunities, you join them. You know, you go for a training and you see someone that you like the way the person spoke or something like that, just like the way we are talking right now. You can just meet up with the person and be like, oh, please, if you come across, see what I do, this is my area of interest, this is what I want to do, you know. Please, if you come around any opportunity, can you share it my way? And I'm very sure that the person would do it because most people are willing. Like it was when I entered the field of public health that I realized that most people are actually willing to help. It's just you that is not asking. So yeah. So then the fourth question is there any experience? I know you guys have a lot of volunteering experiences with different organizations, but is there anyone that stood out for you? Yeah, is there anyone that stood out for you, and why did it, stand out for you? And what are the benefits of volunteering? So let's just wrap it up. So, I think Rachel, you want to go first?
Sure. Yeah, no, definitely. And thank you so much. And I'm sorry, like I realize now that I did not answer the question correctly. The last question, I thought you said assessing, not accessing. So what I'm going to do quickly to remedy that is add a bunch of links for opportunities to get
Yeah.
involved. If there's any organizations that you want to get involved right away, these are the organizations that Ifoma and I have been part of, starting with JB Dondolo and into a few organizations that I've been a part of, as well as just general information that such as Volunteer Match. And last is my LinkedIn profile in case you want to connect afterwards to make up for that. So to now get to the right question. Yeah, one organ, wow, which one stood out the most? There's a few. One is JB Dondolo, because that was the first organization that I started volunteering with post, well, not post, but as soon as I got my job with Caring Crowd when I was at Johnson & Johnson. And I was just really engaged with Lumbi, who's the founder of the organization, and her father's mission to provide access to clean water. I thought that that was just, her story was just so inspiring, and being able to listen to her personal journey was what motivated me to get involved, and has motivated a lot of people to get involved. Like she is absolutely a wonderful human being. I really enjoyed my time volunteering with her. So in case anybody does want to, I thought that, you know, I wanted to put that link there. But yeah, so that's one organization that really stands out, because she and her story were very inspiring, and it made people want to, you know, surround themselves by her. Additionally, one of the other major volunteering opportunities that I've had was back when I was in undergrad. Well, there were two when I was in undergrad. I really liked volunteering at the hospital that I was a part of. Not because of the job tasks themselves. Actually, they were really boring, I'm gonna be honest. But that's also part of the thing too, is that, like, you know, some volunteering positions aren't always going to be, like, you know, the most exciting thing, but they are essential to ensuring that the operations of whether that's a hospital or an organization, that they are servicing the stakeholders. What I really liked about that opportunity, though, is that you were on the ground. You were like meeting with patients one-on-one. One patient that I actually had to babysit for a little bit, older gentleman, and because his medicine made him not necessarily, like, you know, all he wasn't like functional, at least physically. So, you know, I had to make sure that, you know, he was okay. So that was where I actually understood what volunteering was, like, you know, really understood what it was. So that was another experience that I think, like, was extremely memorable. And last is some of the work that I'm doing today. I think that the work that I'm doing today is extremely impactful. And that's the last reason why I continue to stay involved, particularly with Internet Bar organization, which is the fact that the work that I am doing, even though that I might not be there on the ground, I know that I am seeing the tangible impact that it's having on young people's lives. So in one case, we just put on a concert for Ukrainian youth, partnering with a pop-up charter school in Poland for Ukrainian refugees to be able to go to school, because the Polish school systems are very packed right now because of the influx of refugees. About 90% of all of the Ukrainian refugees, so that's 2 million people, 90% of them are women and children. So there was like over 1,000 students just in this one city alone that had no opportunity to study. So we put on a fundraising concert for them to help them expand their school. So that's one of the last things and most recent activities that I've been a part of for volunteering.
Thank you. So, Godwin.
Right. So there have been quite a few opportunities, a few exciting things, but one of the things that really stands out for me was being privileged to participate in the rollout of Generation Unlimited in Nigeria in 2019. It was an incredible experience. Like I had the privilege of being a part of the planning and research team with a mentor in the UN then, Johannes. And so aside from meeting who's who in the UN, getting access to exclusive meetings, I also got very valuable field experience, you know, I had the opportunity to participate in a qualitative research in some host communities, just as part of like the groundbreaking foundational work. I also did a bit of the research, facilitation, focus groups, and all of that, and data analysis, and it was really, really invaluable. Like, and the interesting thing is from there, other opportunities also opened up. You know, some engagements with YOMA at the time, with Europort at the time, all around Nigeria, Niger, and all of that. You know, in fact, if I wasn't leaving to start my graduate school education, I mean, I would probably have been doing, okay, somebody's saying something in the chat section, says you can hear a thing. Can you hear me clearly? Can you all hear me?
I can hear
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so it really stood out for me at the time, because I was just like getting my entry into the whole world of social activism and getting involved in working on the SDGs and research and all of that. And it was really helpful to find someone who could hold my hand and teach me the ropes and just walk me through the entire process. Another thing that I think really stands out was early this year, I happened to intern as a volunteer with the Northwest Ohio Hospital Council. And I had the opportunity to actually lead a real life project. Like, that was like the craziest thing ever. You know, right in the middle of the pandemic, you know, meeting with Latinos and Blacks and immigrants, just basically advancing health equity as far as advanced care planning is concerned. And I get to be put on TV and in the newspaper and a couple of other engagements down the line. And it's just proof that volunteering can be really rewarding. If you put your hands on the table and if you put your feet on the ground and if you're focused and you'd ensure that you always maintain a value exchange point, you know, so that you're not like a liability to the team.
Yeah.
And yes, yeah, I think that was the question. Was there another question?
Yeah. So
Yeah, okay.
I think just to should I say add to what Rachel said, there's always a thing about your first volunteering experience. Because I mean, for me, that's the one that stood out for me. And
Yeah.
it really helped me. It's helped me to direct my course, like the course of my life. Because initially I was so clueless. I was so clueless about what I wanted, you know. So, but it helped to define my path. It helped to show me what I'm passionate about. Because I mean, there's one thing about that particular experience, apart from showing me what I wanted to do, it's also helped me to learn some languages. Like, you know, if you want to go into a particular field, there are some, is it jargons or words that are peculiar to that field. So, I mean, when I applied for my postgraduate course and they were asking us questions, I was able to use those words that I learned on the field, you know, there during my interview. So it's really nice. It's really nice to volunteer. And you can even volunteer to have fun. There are some people that dance to advocate for maybe sexual and reproductive health issue. There are people that swim to advocate for clean water or stop dumping refuse in the seas, in the ocean. So they swim to, you know, to advocate for that. So it can be very enjoyable. So, which is why we have this organization, for you to be able to design your own volunteering experience, you know, to make it enjoyable and rewarding to you and to the people you are serving. So thank you so much. So right now, we're done with the questions we have for the panelists and would like to have questions from the participants. So the floor is open to you. You can unmute yourself, ask your questions, but please, can you raise your hand if you have any question so that we can call you and there'll be other limits. Yeah. So if you have any question, you can just raise your hand, we'll call you and you can ask your question.
Or if you'd rather prefer to write it in the chat, that can work as well.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I guess there's been a lot of information and they're taking time to digest it. So
Yeah.
I think a question that I can ask both of you, I mean, I guess as well as myself, is where would you like to see yourselves in your volunteering role, like in the next 5 years?
um can I chip in on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I think that's a very important question because sometimes, like we said in passing earlier, there's a tendency to come into volunteering and really not know what to expect. And sometimes just go with the flow, but I think for planning and to ensure that milestones are being achieved, there needs to be like that long-term goal, that bigger picture, like, okay, where do I actually see myself going with this in the next 5 years? And so for me, one of the things that I'm looking forward to is um, building capacity, which is very, very crucial, very, very crucial. Building capacity. For instance, I've been a volunteer with the award for this is my third year of volunteering with the award, and one of the things I benefited the most is actually building capacity, learning how to engage with the global audience on sensitive issues like access to child education, like providing more funding for children's education. And so for me, that capacity building is really crucial. And so when I want to take up a role that has to do with global engagement at any level, or when I have to take up an opportunity that has to do with education at the global scale, I have, like Ifeoma said, the language, I have the experience, and of course, I have the certification and the recommendations from this organization that I can use to either thrive in this organization if I want to stay here or move to a different one. And that's one of the benefits of volunteering, like we mentioned the other time, of course, there's exposure, there's skills, but also opportunities and recommendations. That is really, really, really critical. You can never go wrong with it. I mean, nothing beats somebody speaking about your passion to work to help make humanity better in some way or another to an admissions committee or an interview board or whatever, so those are really really important benefits from volunteering. And so for me, it's building capacity to be able to translate what I've learned on a different scale, most likely higher scale.
That's awesome. I love that answer, for myself. And I just saw that in the chat, there's a few questions now that are coming through. But to answer quickly, my own question is, in 5 years, the way that I would like to see myself is much like yourself, Godwin, which is to be able to transfer my skills to somebody else, transfer that knowledge onto others in a skill that I didn't have the opportunity to in like any formal educational setting or a job setting, for example. I think that to me, that is like a pinnacle of success in volunteering. It's like, wow, I was able to gain all of this experience just in this one way. And now I consider myself specialized enough that I could transfer that to somebody else. So I thought so I think that that's really cool. And, to answer the question that's in the chat, must one have some skills like data analysis before one can begin to volunteer? Simply, the answer is no. Not necessarily. Maybe it could be the case for a specialized research center. That may be the case. Or if an example of like a volunteer position up is like, data analyst volunteer, then I would say most likely yes. But in the matter of like wanting to get involved with some form of like monitoring and reporting, no, not necessarily, because that's where you can learn these skills.
That is being entrusted. You need to be sure that that value that is being entrusted and being communicated to you has to be reciprocated. So there are some ways you can build yourself to be more valuable. Build your communication skills, build your internet skills, clean up your social media. you know, learn how to engage with diverse audiences. These are things that would actually give you a strong foot in the door and a soft landing where you get in. But as far as technical skills is concerned, I think the more the merrier. But if you have none, it doesn't mean that you are not qualified. That volunteer opportunity can actually be an opportunity for you to build the kind of skills that you want to build for that area of interest.
Yeah.
Great.
Yes, I totally agree. You know, just the way it is okay for organizations to have what they expect from volunteers, it's also okay for you to have what to expect from a volunteering opportunity. So some organizations will say, oh, for you to volunteer in this role, you need this skill, that skill, you know. And the good thing about volunteering is it is an opportunity to also learn. So I think if you are able, because for most volunteering opportunities, we are applying for them, especially the ones under the UMV platform. If you're applying, it's like applying for a real-time job. So, so you take your time to write. I think there's a place for cover letter or something like that. Then you still write plenty stories and all that. So for someone that is reviewing your application and the person sees a great, should I say, a passion to learn, that you are open to learn. I think I would take someone that is really open to learn and have the passion over someone that does not even, as in, the person has the skill but does not really care. Like you can tell from what people write if they actually care about what they're applying for and all that. So, and it's okay if you don't have any skills at all, because volunteering opportunities are also there to help you to get all those skills. And that is why if you are looking for opportunities, you look for opportunities that will give you what you want. Is it fun? Is it skills? Is this stipends? Some people, they want stipends, so they're looking for the ones that will give them stipends. So I don't know that then in case you're not available to volunteer physically, there are also visual volunteering experiences. So when you're searching for visual volunteering experience, because all my volunteering experience with Rachel, like I've been with her for like 2 years, it has been visual. Like we've not seen each other before, like physically. So I think that's it. Yeah. So I think we have a question.
Yeah, there's a question in the chat section. It says, do we need to have goals before joining some organization? Because sometimes you want to learn and you really don't know how to get around some questions like that. So what would you advise, please? And you would like to learn, and that's why you're applying, but you really don't have a goal at the moment. So in terms of goals, I'm trying to imagine this as you're applying to join, and then the organization you're applying to volunteer with is asking what are your goals. If that is what it means, it probably means that you need to have some goals, that you need to be able to communicate those goals. And of course, sometimes volunteering can be a way to figure out your way. It can be a way to figure out your goals, right? So if you have no goals through volunteering, you can tell what's for you and what's not. But at the same time, it's not every opportunity that will give you that luxury to actually figure out what's for you and what's not. And so sometimes it helps to have a goal, but if you do not have a goal, it's totally fine. You can get involved in volunteering and figure out your goals along the way.
Yeah, and you don't be should I say scared to ask questions in your journey. Yeah. It's very important to always ask questions. I know before I applied to work with Rachel, I sent an email to ask questions first.
She did. Yeah, I was about to mention that too. Yeah, no, that was the first thing IFOMA did, is as soon as she saw the opening, she asked me questions before applying. So IFOMA was my former intern. So she can firsthand tell me how I did as both an interviewer and as an organization, So if you want, the real, you can go to her.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And you know, I think just to quickly mention is that sometimes an organization may want to know if you have like not just your own personal goals, but like, you know, what goals you have to contribute to that organization. Some that is a reality that they will ask that. And so sometimes you could say, you know, I would like to kind of help in this department or something. I think, you know, just putting in that research ahead of time can really be helpful. It's not a requirement, but it is always a plus. You know, it's always a bonus because that helps the organization determine where you could potentially fit. Somebody raised their hand, so I would like to get
Yeah.
to them.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Former Godwin and Rachel. Thank you very much for valuable input. So mine is not a question. I think it's a contribution, or I want to share my experience because so far you people have only mentioned big organizations. And from my experience, I think when these big organizations call for opportunities, there are requirements that are listed. And for some people who are yet to volunteer, who are yet to understand what volunteering is all about, who are yet to even gain the skills, they do not fit into that position. They do not fit into that description for the volunteer opportunity or the volunteer position. So what I did for myself, I think this year, I walked to a school where they were just starting that nursery school. I walked in there and presented myself to the principal and told him that I would love to volunteer for his organization. He asked how much he would pay me. When he found out I was a graduate, I told him no, that I just want to do it free. I want to be coming to teach it. That's where I was able to give my own timeline respectfully. I wasn't like, I did not just I don't know if you understand me, giving
Yeah,
my
we
own
do.
timeline, like going there two days in a week just to contribute. So I want to suggest that there are startup organizations, there are people who are just there looking for help, that you can go there to assist them.
Yeah.
When I started volunteering, even before I visited the school this year, I never knew what SDG goals were. I was just going to schools to teach for free, organizing lessons for female students. I did not know anything until this year where I gained this training from United People Global, and then I visited this school. So everything, my skills was now like accumulating.
Yeah.
So you don't wait for these big organizations to call you or to open portals for you to apply. You can take yourself out there at your spare time. There are startup organizations. People have even come to me to ask me, how can I support you? When they saw I have started something, they were now asking how they could support me. So you could go there and support people. Don't just wait for big organizations. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's incredible. You know, when there's no opportunity, you go out and create one for yourself, especially now that most opportunities have like an age bracket, like you can be saying between 18 and 23, 18 and 25, 18 and 26, 18 and, you know, so yeah, that's an incredible story, I think. Well done.
Yeah, I love that. I think that, you know, when you feel, you know, empowered to want to be able to make the change that you see in the world, that is like the true definition of like humanity. Is sometimes, you know, when the big organizations just aren't, you know, yeah, when they want you to, you know, fill in a certain profile that you don't fit in, but you want to be able to contribute anyways, you know, you go out there and, you know, take that initiative upon yourself. And I think that that's truly inspiring to be able to have, you know, is that, you know, that type of initiative to contribute.
So we have someone from Liberia. Elliot, I think you want to say something, but we are a little over our time. So please, I will plead that you summarize whatever you have to say. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much for the recognition. I just wanted to share my own experience about volunteerism. I mean, actually, volunteerism pays a lot. When I was in secondary school, I was part of a health club. So after graduation from high school, I decided to volunteer because I had no job experience. So I wrote to an NGO requesting to volunteer there, and I presented my CV as well. I was accepted. And the work that I was doing, it was more than somebody who was like volunteering, because the task that was given to me was to establish health clubs in the various schools and be able to provide training for those who were part of the health club. I did not stop there. After the term was expired that was given to me, I was able to apply to another organization that was agriculture related. I used to travel from one district to another district, and I received a lot of training, and that was able to build me up. So in a nutshell, volunteerism pays a lot. It makes you to learn more. It makes you to learn new things. It also makes you to network. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. No, I definitely can empathize and can resonate with that. I think that that's truly awesome, and I love the healthcare, part that you got involved in. My background is in global health. I got Master's of Science in global health, so I think it's like every time I hear about any sort of public health initiative, that it's very validating to see. I think that that's awesome.
Yeah. So I just said, let me share like a summary of my volunteering journey, just like how Eno said. You don't have to start big. So you can see I started from NYSC. That was where I started volunteering. I volunteered for 1 year under an organization that caters for sexual and reproductive health of the locals. Then I went ahead to, there is this thing they call spontaneous volunteering. I had a friend that had an organization, and she said that she's organizing an outreach show, that she needs people to help her, So I said, fine, I'm available. It was a day thing, not even up to a day. I think it was 4 to 5 hours that we had to volunteer, We went there, we helped her with data collection. Like, she will show you how to input the data of the participants of the outreach. You are learning and all that. It was with these skills I was now able to apply for UNV, online UNV volunteering program, and I got in. Then from there, I met Brooke. Brooke is not here on the platform. So it was from Brooke I was able to get to know Rachel. And that was how my volunteering journey continued till I got the opportunity that took me to Ghana. Then still, I am back to, if I see any spontaneous volunteering opportunity, maybe the people in our community had this village meeting, and they wanted to, carry out some vital medical checks for the members, and there were doctors there. So I just went and assisted the doctors. That's the last picture there, So you don't have to start big. That's the summary, yeah. I don't know if we have any other question or, okay, I think there's no other question. So to wrap up, yeah, we need to wrap up. So to wrap up, I want to say that it was really wonderful to have you all. And I want to say a huge thank you to our panelists. I want to say a huge thank you to all the registered participants from different parts of the world. We want to appreciate you for your genuine contributions and your questions, and we hope that this webinar has been helpful. And we had only 3 weeks to plan and deliver this project, and you guys really contributed to the huge success by helping us to share e-flyer by registering and by attending. So thank you so much. Thank you. So we are going to be sharing a link. Okay, I'll be sharing a link for the post test here. So I've sent it. So in case you are not able to fill it out here, we'll still send it via email to everyone. Okay. So then we'll also share the link to our Telegram group in case you want to join and get to see some volunteering opportunities, because we also share some spontaneous volunteering opportunities that just came up, and people are looking for who will fill up, you know. So you can easily join us in our group. Then please go to LinkedIn and follow One Volunteer Community. Then also follow internetbar.org. Then please follow Rachel. Like, make sure you follow her. Rachel is such a very wonderful person. I must tell you, like, she's I don't know how to explain it. Then Godwin, like, thank you so much. Godwin is in fact, how am I going to explain all these things? Like, I lack words to describe these two people. That's the truth. So just follow them, ask them questions. They are very wonderful people, and they are always open to listening to you and taking your questions. Then I will also be attaching a link to a form for follow-up. So in case you're interested in being followed up, like on your volunteering journey, you can just input your data. It's just a spreadsheet. Okay, it's a spreadsheet, and you have the link sent to you via email. So you can input your data for follow-up. So I think, having said that, I don't know, Richard, is there anything I'm missing, Godwin? I don't know.
No, just thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to be here and to talk to you all. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you everyone for being here. Yeah, I know time is really expensive these days, so thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you so much. So we look forward to having you in our subsequent events, because we intend to have future events in the future. So we look forward to having you. By then, you will have your own volunteering experiences. I see most of you already have, but for those that have not started, at least we hope that by then you will have gotten your own volunteering experiences and you'll be able to make your own contributions in our discussions. Thank you so much, everyone. So with that, we mark the end, yeah, the end of the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good
you,
rest of your day,
everyone.
everyone.
Have a wonderful day. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.